good afternoon, everybody. Bob Allen here for KDTV.com, and we're here for another session of our Meet the Candidate series. And today we're very privileged to have Sylvia Schnopp running for City Council at the City of Fort Hueneme. We're at our Fuchsia Studios, and Sylvia, we'd like to welcome you.
Thank you, Bob. It's my pleasure.
Well, the object of what we want to try and do today, Sylvia, is to let our viewing audience know a little bit more about who Sylvia really is. So share with our viewing audience, where was your upbringing?
I was born and raised in Oxnard. My great-grandmother and grandfather lived here, came here at the turn of the century, 1800s to 1900s. So we have several generations that have been here since then. I went to Santa Clara Elementary School, kindergarten through 8th grade, and then Santa Clara High School.
Wow, and we were talking off camera before we started. At Santa Clara High School, you did something a little bit special at the time.
I was on the girls' varsity softball team, so I played either catcher or outfield. I had a great arm, but I was also called in to do a lot of pitch hitting.
Oh, wow.
Enjoyed really the time there. I was.
It was a time where girls' athletics were really starting to come into the scene as they are now. So
I believe so.
You were one of the forerunners that made Title IX possible for people.
And it was also a great thing to learn how to do team sports.
Learn how
really
to play
work with the
it.
other girls and the coach.
How well put.
Absolutely.
So after graduation from Santa Clara, you went to Ventura College.
Yes, I stayed local. And for the first 2 years, just went to Ventura College and received an AA. Really focused in on business administration, all the accounting things and everything else now. For a while there, I did want to be an attorney, but that didn't pan out. I just stuck to the business side of the house.
Enjoyed the business.
Absolutely.
Counting the money a little
Yes.
bit. And then after Ventura College, I think you went on to CSUN?
Yes, transitioned over to Cal State Northridge and attended there, received my Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, but an emphasis of marketing. So that was more of the advertising and market research and those kinds of activities.
Okay, and from there, you then, I believe, started your family, and share with us about, you know, how your what your family is living here in Ventura County.
Yeah. So went on to also work right after college, and it was then that I met my husband. I was living in Northridge at the time, and so I came back here, and I haven't left Ventura County since. I also went back to get a master's, an MBA at Cal Lutheran later on in life. As I was starting my family, actually went back to school, and I emphasized in finance there.
How wonderful! So you have raised two older boys right now.
Yes.
Okay.
2 adult sons. I'm a single mother, and so my oldest is at Ventura College, just trying to wrap up on his general education, and then my younger son is actually working right now.
Oh, how wonderful!
Yeah.
So now let's go back. After graduation, you know, and starting your career, you went out into the business world. Share with our viewers what your first job was.
My first job was actually running a department for a Dayton Hudson corporate office. It was through the Mervyn's program. And so I worked here locally for a few months and then transitioned to Northridge actually and ran the second to the largest department. It was multi-million-dollar, and there were more than 24 people who actually reported to me. So I was this young buck out of college running a very large department with lots of responsibility. And I hit all the metrics that were really important for them. I ran the #1 department in the store for quarter after quarter after quarter. There was something that was going on that was right, and they really liked the model.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then something happened, as you'll explain to the rest of our viewers, that caused you to get into the nonprofit world. Share with us what happened as part of the job program from Mervyn's and United Way.
So Mervyn's had launched into doing a loaned executive program. That's where they would actually pay for a manager to go out and volunteer at a local United Way, but Mervyn's would actually pay their salary and benefits. And so the first year was the president of Mervyn's who did that, and the second year I was called to do that here in Ventura County. And it really opened up my eyes to community involvement, to helping out a nonprofit like United Way. It gave me a solid foundation of what really goes on within our community and our cities. And so that was a really good program that I helped raise quite a bit of money for United Way that year.
And you were telling me also that there's one program that's been going on for these many years that, as you look back, it was a program that you were part of the parent of.
Yes. So after going back to Mervyn, serving as a loan executive, 2 years later I come back to United Way as a staff person. And it was there that I became director of marketing. And one of the legacies I've left United Way is that I'm proud to say that the program called Day of Caring, which is a volunteer day. It's where you and your team could volunteer to help at Food Share or help at the Boys and Girls Club. And it's just, we're asking for one day of sweat equity where you might, put a cap on and paint a building or do landscaping or move some things for the nonprofit. But it is where we actively get volunteers to sign up and come alongside the organizations that help people. It's become a national program. United Ways across the country do this. I would have to say that there's over a couple of million people that have volunteered over the last 23 years to do the Day of Caring in their community. San Francisco has a week-long program because they have over 8,000 volunteers. And locally here, Ventura County has close to 1,000 people that come out for the day. And that's something that I started, and it's grown like wildfire across the U.S.
Makes you feel proud as you see the marketing on for that.
Absolutely, sure. Absolutely. It's a nice legacy.
So how long did you stay with United Way?
I stayed there for 10 years. We did some tremendous things locally, including a beta test on would people give to issues-oriented campaigns. And that's still something that still resides in the organization to this day.
Well, that's a great segue, as you can imagine, because we are here because you are a candidate for office. So share with us what initially caused you to want to enter into the realm of politics. I'll use that term.
Bob, what's really important there is to let people know that I'm not a career politician. I never really thought about politics at all. And it wasn't until I was at AT&T Wireless that over the course of a full week, each day I had somebody encouraging me to step into politics. Because they were looking at me thinking, you have a business mind. We need somebody like you in government. We need you to run for office.
And we skipped that one part, and I do apologize. After United Way, you did go back to private enterprise.
I did.
And I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
That's okay. I wanted to test out the skills that I had learned at school as well as through the nonprofit organization management. Would this apply to a for-profit? And so that's when I came over and started working for McCall Cellular, which then merged into AT&T.
Okay, so you had that whole experience, and that is when people started sharing with you that with your background, it would be nice for you to help in local government. So when did you first run for office in Fort Wayne?
I first ran for office in 2000, and that was for the Ventura County Community College District, the trustee seat. And so that would be where it encompassed Oxnard and Port Wayne. And I ran for an unexpired term. So it's just a 2-year term to fill a vacancy on that board. I came in second, but that didn't deter me. 2 years later, I ran for the full 4-year term, and I came in second again. And so it's not to say that you just have to continue getting up there. It was like stepping up to the plate, bottom of the ninth, 2 strikes against you, and you get up there and you still want to hit a home run. And so the 3rd time around was in the year 2008. I ran for city council for Port Wayne. And my love was really to start at a local level, to start within city government. And so in 2008, I was elected by the voters of Port Wayne to represent them as city council member.
Is there anything that during those 4 years that have occurred, and these have been some of the toughest 4 years that I could ever remember in my lifetime, what are some of the challenges that you faced in those 4 years that you were helpful in trying to help the city?
It was really to right size the budget. we had 8 years of shortfall. And when you're thinking maybe of reducing services, are you really actually looking at the cost side of the business too? And so as soon as I stepped in, we were able to transition into some areas, whether it would be our water, our some of the other services that we were actually asking people to reimburse us for, didn't have the full, it was only a net. And so we needed to make some changes, some really serious changes. We knew that we needed to set aside some money to repair and replace 60-year-old pipes, or systems that have been up for a real long time. And we didn't have any set aside funds for that. So as soon as I came in, we started to look at some of those really serious issues and start transitioning over into really doing some solid investing in the community.
Okay, and now fast forward, we're at 2012, and you are, as an incumbent, running for office again. What are some of the things that you would like, and you can tell our viewing audience, that you'd like to accomplish during the next 4 years of office?
What's really important for me is that we don't lose momentum. So in the 4 years that we've been able to make some transitions and some shifts, and we're still looking at a budget that this year we did have another shortfall. But I believe it's because we're having to backfill some things that are happening out of Sacramento. And so at a local level, a city really is where the rubber hits the road, where the buck stops here, and we have to make ends meet. So I would believe that when I'm re-elected, it's that the momentum continues, that we continue to right-size the budget, right-size the city, set us on course for a brighter future, and also look at other opportunities we have in order to ensure that we have a nice quality of life that we enjoy in Port Hueneme, that we ensure that we keep our military and support them. They're the #1 employer, and I'm proud to say they're in Port Hueneme. We also have a great economic base, such as the Port of Hueneme, that brings in millions and millions of dollars every year in business. And then we also, we have an incredible community with local police. And so those are the issues that are really important for me to continue these next 4 years for our citizens in Port Hueneme.
Sounds like a beautiful place to live, a beautiful place to raise a family, and a pretty nice place to open a business.
Absolutely. We support small business, and I have for many years, being on the boards of local economic development organizations. The one I serve on right now, it has free counseling for small businesses or those that have an idea that would like to start a business. And so it's providing those kinds of resources for our residents and our business owners that really help strengthen and improve both economics as well as the social things that we have in the community and our quality of life.
Well, Sylvia, I can't thank you enough for coming and joining us in a session of Meet the Candidate. And before we leave, I'd love for you to be able to tell our viewer audience or anybody watching this how they can get in touch with you, a website, email address, telephone number, and it'll also be down at the bottom of the screen.
Great, okay. If folks want to get a hold of me, I'm Sylvia Schnopp, and I'm running for Port Hueneme City Council. My email address is Sylvia4Council, and that's spelled F-O-R in the 4, gmail.com. My website is sylviaforcouncil.com, and I could also be found on Facebook, and they can punch in Councilmember Sylvia and get that information. Also, my phone number is 805-330-1896.
Well, Sylvia, we wish you the best of luck, okay? And we hope you can have another 4 great years helping the city of Port Hueneme.
Thank you, Bob.